I started in stage performing the second time around. This year will be our 27th year, and I've done 25 of them. When I think I was a mere child when we started, went through menopause, the whole thing, and here I am again through the second menopause. Anyway, when I started, I can remember that we were at the theater where we were. We did our own makeup. We did our own food. We didn't have food, to be truthful. We had coffee. We'd bring the pots. We cleaned the toilettes, and not a pretty picture. Clean up, go on stage going, here we are. But we had none of that. And my hairdresser for 42nd Street was a wonderful guy named Russell Smith. And he said, Carole, he came to a few of the performances, he said, I think we have a beauty violation on stage. Some of your ladies need help, and particularly you need help. So what he did, Russell Smith, he got a group of hairdressers together and makeup people, and they converged on us. From that day on, we never lacked for hair people and our makeup people. My friend Russell Smith, I do want to tell you, he later contracted AIDS and died of AIDS. And so every time something comes up to do with the show, I try to honor Russell because he did so much for us. We'll all be grateful for that. And the audience is grateful because we look so much better once Russell got hold of us. I remember my first time to hear of anybody having AIDS was a young man in 42nd Street. And I remember he came from a very well-to-do family, and when they found out about it, they disinherited him. And I remember we all came together, the cast and the crew, and we all put in money so he could pay his rent, because the family would have nothing to do with it. And at that time, we didn't even have a name for it. It was called, I don't know, the gay disease, question mark, there was a blood disease. We absolutely had no name for it. But he had the disease. And I do remember that I kept thinking, my goodness, I'll probably never know anyone else who has this disease. I thought it's so, you know, exotic would certainly be the wrong word, but it was so peculiar and particular to a certain group of our people, the human race, that I was astounded that I actually knew somebody. Well, of course, that was a forerunner to terrible things. And I knew many people. And at that time, it was really anybody who had AIDS died of AIDS. I do think now the word cocktail, you know, I think the young people now, they hear, oh, if I get it, I take a cocktail or several cocktails and I'll be fine. Well, that's not true. I think the word cocktail is very offensive to me. It indicates some kind of happiness. Oh, have a cocktail and you'll be all right. Now, they literally don't know it's a cocktail, but I think the word cocktail is unfortunate. Many years ago, David Galligan came to me and said, Carole, I don't want you to be thrown, but we're having a signer tonight. I said, what's that? He said, somebody for the deaf to sign for them. And I said, oh, good, fine. So I went out for rehearsal, and John Marr, who's so darling, it's unbelievable, and he's going to be the signer. Well, he was in a spotlight. He was too darling to be in a spotlight, but he was. So he was signing for me, and I came off stage, that was rehearsal, and I said to David, would it be all right if I said something to John Marr? He said, well, I don't know. So he went to John and said, would it be all right if Carole spoke to you you know, had a little repartee with you? And John said, oh no, I don't think so. I'm too shy. You know, did one of those, which you could just throw up. So he was doing that. And so David came back to me and said, no, Carole, John is too shy. He doesn't want you to speak to him. I said, really? No kidding. Well, of course, I went out and went right for him. I said, and who do we have today with us but Helen Keller in a spotlight? I want you to know, from that day on, he took to that spotlight like that. He didn't care whether I was there or not. He used me as a prop. I mean, I've joked with him. I took him to the top. People wait now for him to perform. I've made this monster. Not really. I'm telling you, I love him. And I have made him a star. He comes before every performance to me and says, now, Carole, I think it'd be better if you came over to me a little faster. And could you speed this up? I said, well, make your hands speed up. Give me a break. But really, I'm going to wash his hands out with soap. He gets very risque. I thought the Gershwin finale in '09 was really terrific. And it's kind of what we're all about. David Galligan, our director, finished the show with couples singing. Singing the great song, Our Love Is Here to Stay. And there were 2 women, 2 men, a couple of men and women, and in fact, my husband and I sang in that group, Our Love Is Here to Stay. Of course, my husband made a big mistake. He was trying to be so sweet and sentimental about it all to offset my attitude, I assume. And he said, and Carole and I have been married 56 years. I froze. That was 46 years. I married when I was 12. Anyway, you cannot destroy a good basic bone structure. The skin has gone funny, but the bone structure is there. One of the most wonderful things about the stage benefit is all of the women, especially at the Luckman Theater, where we are, it's a state-of-the-art theater. And all the women dress in one room. All the men dress in one room, chorus people, everybody. And it makes for one of the most beautiful and touching times. I mean, we listen to each other sing their lyrics to practice. We go, how does that step go again? Carole Channing put on my eyelashes for me. And it wasn't that good, really. She doesn't see that well. Well, I do. And I don't think she was after me personally, but she wasn't. Really, we have a fabulous time. I mean, if your bra strap breaks, who do you have fixing? Angela Lansbury, Bernadette Peters, Carole Channing. I mean, they're all, too numerous to mention, but I just did mention a few. There are a million of them. We only had trouble with one person, and I personally will not go into that now, because she's banned from the show. Before every show, before the curtain goes up on the show proper, they give out awards. And one of them is called the Carrie Hamilton. I think it's Miss Congeniality. I think that, or is that Miss America? No, it's Carrie Hamilton, Miss, best all-around sport. And it's always a surprise to whomever gets it. And so I was sitting in the dressing room, and the stage manager, Ando, came to me and she said, Carole, everybody's supposed to be on stage, even before the show started, we're supposed to be on stage to give this award. And I said, I'm not coming out. No, because I don't want people to see my costume. She said, oh, I don't think David's going to like that. I said, who cares? I'm not coming out. I mean, what can they do? Fire me? Take my paycheck? David has told me a million times, Carole, with that attitude, one more attitude like that, and you will never work for free in this town again. So she said, you better come out. Well, I said, I'm not coming. Well, the curtain is up, all the people are on stage, and I'm listening to it on the speaker in the dressing room. And Ando comes, she said, Carole, you've got to come out. Now, I had on my full dress, but I had on sneakers. I said, I'm not putting on high. She drugged me out on the stage. She said, you've got to come, you've got to come. She's pulling me out. I had no idea I was getting the award. As she pulled me out and threw me on stage and said, now, Carole Cook, Miss Congeniality, the Carrie Hamilton Award for Best All-Around Girl. I walked out going, oh, oh, it's my people. Thank you. Thank all the little people. It was not my finest hour. I said, don't surprise me with awards anymore. Special Miss Congeniality. I did it, but it was a stretch. Okay. This year, in this wonderful show, I will be performing selections from 42nd Street. And it's down memory lane for me because Leroy Reams, who was my cohort in that show, will be coming out from New York, and we'll be doing hopefully a lot of fun things, some serious things. I will talk about the opening night, which I tend to say closing night in New York because it was the night that there was so much drama. Gower Champion, our director, died that afternoon. And Leroy and I will be doing, oh, it's what I like to call a vaudeville turn, and we'll tell some funny stories about 42nd Street. We have a lot of them. Some we can tell, and some we can't tell. But Leroy has a fabulous voice, and was the tap dancer in the show. It's full of tap dancing. And David asked him to wondered if he would like to do a tap dance this year. And Leroy said, a man my age doesn't do taps, so he will not be doing tap dancing. But hopefully you'll be surprised. We'll do some wonderful things and keep you entertained. And this year, everybody in the show is so fabulous. I'm telling you people, if you come to this show, stage any year, if somebody comes on that you're not that thrilled with, I'm telling you, you wait 2 minutes, there'll be something fabulous happen. It's just talent, just one talent after another. Not a bad apple in the bunch. All showstoppers, all wonderful. And I would like to say that we must never, ever forget why we're there. It's been many years now. AIDS is more prevalent than it's ever been. I think a lot of that is because we're used to it now, and people do live longer. But they have to live with a lot of complications. So we never want to forget that. And I'll see you, hopefully,